This week on Theme Park Workshop, the podcast, we're talking epic things, epic universes, epic 5-year anniversary. It's the big 50th episode. And do I see you? I hope you see me, because that means this went up on YouTube without fail with video. It's been a while. It's been like 3 years. And I'm here with two wonderful co hosts for this extraordinarily epic event. Bella Harvey, number one.
Hello, everybody. You can see me. Hello.
Do those letters spell epic behind you? I think I can make out four of those.
They do. They do, actually. I'll get it to go. Ready? Beep. 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 It's spelled epic, and you gotta watch the YouTube video to see how that happened.
Will Byers speaking from that upside down about what today is all about. But of course, can't forget the killer one herself, Kelly Hoffman.
Unlike the Invisible Man, I can't point to it because of my microphone. You can see me. Hello, everyone.
Oh, started coughing. Yeah, same chaotic energy, just now we're on video. A special way to kick off the next however many episodes we end up doing. But yes, this is the 5-year anniversary of Theme Park Workshop, going back to the YouTube days. It's our 50th episode of just the podcast since we started this. 2021? I think so. I think that's correct information. Wild stuff. A lot has happened then. But I did say epic. So what could be more epic than this epic new theme park that we've been hearing about, coming soon to an Orlando near you?
There's a new theme park coming?
So they say.
Wow! I had no idea!
No clue. All the uncles and aunts are texting like, did you hear about this theme park that's coming? I saw it on the news. But we know.
Had no idea. Thank you so much. It's like the Ron Swanson, I know more than you. Like, that's me. Anytime anyone asks me anything about theme parks, I'm like, yes. Like, they're like, oh my gosh, did you see Universal Monster? Yes, I did. Thank you for asking.
Or it's like the I know more about American Girl dolls than you do, genius.
Exactly.
Oh my god. I just had an idea with that.
Right on.
Right on.
And in case my aunts and uncles are listening to this, and like, we never texted you, that is correct. But just broadly speaking, that's an aunt and uncle thing. Not you specifically, but just generally speaking. Anyway.
Mine have.
Yours have?
And mine have. And anytime they send me something, it's like, and my mom a lot. So mom and patron, if you're listening, hi. But they'll send me things like, oh my gosh, did you hear this? And I'm like, yes, I have not stopped thinking about it since I learned about this. Thank you for reminding me.
Well, thank you for reminding me. Before we even get to Epic Park, the Epic Park that's coming up, I'm not going to drop the name until we actually get to it. What I need to say first are our Epic patrons. Our $20 tier patrons, of course, are Jen Harvey and Dwayne and Teresa Diker. Thank you so much for your patronage, but also thank you so much to our other wonderful patrons, Landon Knoke, Jonathan Edward, Jordan Buster, Greg Harvey, and Joshua Gonzalez. You are all wonderful. You are a lot of the reason why we can do video now.
I hope you guys enjoy the fireworks over on YouTube.
Probably not an after effect, but look at our hands. They're like fireworks.
Make my hands sparkle. Make my hands sparkle.
There's only so much I can do, Bella. I'm still learning.
Just write the word sparkle.
Did we succeed at that? If you're listening on Spotify, go take a look at YouTube. We never know. Anyway, what we do know now is, of course, Universal's brand new theme park. We used to call ourselves a Universal show back in the first 20 episodes because we talked about it so much. So it is kind of a full circle moment. Let's no further ado. We're joined by Matthew to talk about Epic Universe. Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We're here to talk about Epic Universe. I know that announcement came in like a month ago, and we haven't talked about it, which is wild because it's like the biggest thing to happen in Orlando, but we're talking about it now. It's a special event, Epic 5 years and Epic Universe, such a big park. But no one wants to talk about it alone. We want to talk about it with friends. We want to spread the news. And so that's why we have Bella's wonderful friend Matthew with us today. Hello, Matthew.
Hi, everyone.
Matthew, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. I am a performer down here in Orlando in one of the theme parks. I've been here since October of 2021. I love what I do. I love the franchise that I get to represent daily. And I have been a longtime lover of Universal. I first got my annual pass in 2019, but I have been a huge fan of the parks ever since then. Uh, and before as well, like, oh gosh, prior to before they knocked down the old Murder She Wrote, Xena and Hercules, before it became Transformers, like that era, like that's when I first went to Universal. So like I've just been a huge follower and fan since then. I've been following every project that they've ever done. So I'm super excited for Epic Universe coming up next year.
It's wild that it's so soon. But yeah, I was around Universal back in like '07. I think it was my first time there. So I don't remember Hercules and Xena, but I do remember when that was shut down and everything. Or like the
Mm.
building was down and construction cranes everywhere. That's great. That's great. We're all excited though about Epic Universe. We all saw that announcement trailer, right?
Sure did.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we all knew it was coming, but it really made it all the more real. So let's just get right into it. They announced all the lands, and they did a deep dive with the first land, the first main hub, or it is the main hub, and they talk about how we're going to enter the park through what's called the Emerald Gate and the Chronos. And the Chronos, they say in the storyline, is it harnesses the energy of the universe to power the entirety of the Celestial Park area. And it opens portals to these fantastic worlds. So the park is separated by these different portals that have these different lands. But to get to each one, you got to go through this massive hub. And I think one really cool thing that Mark Woodbury said, like, oh yeah, I never thought about that, but that's a really interesting way to go about it, was the whole thing about we're putting the park back in theme park, which I mean, to me, and in the concept art, it just looks like we're going to make this the most beautiful hub ever. It's going to be one of the most beautiful theme park lands. Look at all these fountains. That is very exciting. Just before we get into the attractions, like when you're watching that video, what kind of like when he was going through, or all the Universal folks are going through, like what Celestial Park was going to look like. What are your thoughts? Or were you just kind of like, oh my gosh, new park?
For me personally, when I saw that, it gave me a sense of joy, and elation almost, because I have watched over the years with theme parks, they've gone from, these fully fleshed out, beautiful landscaped topiaries, beautiful flower beds, plenty of trees and shade, and it has just become like a minimalistic, almost concrete block. Almost feels like, like you're just looking at a set of Legos. Not that we're endorsing another park down the road or anything, but um it just it looked so beautiful and stunning to the eye, to see the sculptures that were there, the cascading waterfalls on the rocks, and the amount of greenery that is supposed to be inside of the theme park. It almost felt like someone said, take Central Park and make it a theme park, but like on a universal level, if that makes any sense at all.
No, yeah,
And
that's
so I'm excited to walk through it because I am sure I am going to spend a lot of time there.
What really like stuck out to me the most when I was watching everything about Celestial Park was how cool it's gonna look at night. That's like all I can think of. Like, obviously, it is going to look drop dead gorgeous during the day. It's gonna be so cool with all like the water and the fountains, but like at night, especially with the ride, like, oh my god, I can't wait to just like sit in there on a bench. Probably won't be able to sit in there on a bench for about 2 years, with how busy it's gonna be. But I cannot wait for whenever that happens to just sit there on a bench listening to the BGM with all of this like lush beautifulness. I am so excited. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I completely agree. And Matthew, we were totally on the same page because I also thought about Central Park. I was literally like, yes, this is like a Central Park theme park, and I love Central Park. So I was just stoked. And then, of course, it's got all of that celestial element, and the vibes are going to be immaculate. I feel like this is going to be like my favorite place to hang out other than, one of the other lands that we all know. I mean, if you are watching this on video on YouTube, you can see my background. You know where I'm excited for. But once the crowds start to die, like, you know, probably several years from now, or I guess several years from when it opens because it's not opening yet, it is going to be like peak vibes just hanging out in that area of the park.
But that is something. Y'all bring up like a great point, like the background music. What's that gonna be? What's that gonna sound like? I know there's a rumor I heard yesterday, or maybe the day before. Recently, that's the point. From Alicia Stella, who does Orlando ParkStop, and she's been breaking Epic Universe news for 5 years, about as long as we've had a podcast, or a theme park workshop, really. Um, and I know her and her co-host was hoping John Williams. I know Danny Elfman has kind of hinted that he wants to do, or that he is working on Dark Universe. So are they going to get someone like that? Are we going to get some of the other wonderful composers who have done like Islands of Adventure and the Kong score? Who knows? But I know Universal pretty consistently kills it when it comes to theme park music. So that's great, and that does, as y'all were saying, was like it creates that vibe, that Central Park kind of vibe that just makes it a really fun place to be. And when those lands are going to be so busy, inevitably busy, that's going to be great, to have that large space that you just want to hang in. Yeah, Matthew.
Just to throw it in there, because you mentioned the music and like the vibes and sitting there. One of the other things that I thought about looking at like a lot of the construction photos off of Twitter, there's all of the different like food stands that they have that they're building around the central hub as well. And I have, noticed Universal's recently gone around most of the park and at least studios side over the past year, and they have basically like redone all of the snack booths and tried to elevate it from your basic like, popcorn, pretzel, churro, and like they've actually made like decent menus and like had really good food offerings. So I'm also excited to see like the different foods that'll be offered in Celestial Park and how it'll be themed to that as well to enhance everything.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's a great point. The signature attraction of this area, besides like the food, we'll get into the food. Where are you not? But the big attraction is, of course, Starfall Racers, the dual launch roller coaster, 62 miles per hour, 133 feet tall, tons of airtime, and apparently, according to the website, 48-inch height requirement. So, I mean, they know the stuff already. That it just makes it more real when you put a height requirement on it. There's two things: say Steven Spielberg knows the existence of this park, and number two, there's a height requirement on the ride that opens in over a year. Um, Another cool thing that they talked about was there's no external track lighting. So, like, with Velocicoaster, when you ride at night, there's, those spotlights in the Velociraptor paddock. There's the lighting with the fire at the queue entrance and stuff. But here they're saying where the track is, there's no external lights. All the light is coming from the vehicles themselves. So hopefully that works. Hopefully that stays working. They also said there's a out of time universal Easter egg on the trains, which says to me flux capacitor. Uh, yeah, that's wild. And for those of you at home who are like, well, 133 feet tall, 62 miles per hour, how's that compared to some other roller coasters? Velocicoaster is 155 feet at 70 miles per hour. And then another airtime coaster would be like Mako, that's 200 feet and 73 miles an hour. So it's not as intense as those, but with the airtime and the length, it's longer than both. With the length and the fact that you have the two different experiences and they're like invert on each other, if you're looking at the tests. It's going to be its own wild beast, and it looks so rewritable and so fun and so pretty. Our coaster fans in the house, what do we think about Starfall?
I am so excited for Starfall. Everything about it is speaking my language, from the airtime to the speed to the height. I mean, I know it's not quite as intense as some of the other coasters, but I don't care. I love so many different types of coasters. You don't have to do much to convince me that I am going to be all about this. And the fact that it's a dual launch as well is like, as someone who misses Dueling Dragons, but not more than Hagrid. So, you got to take what you can get. I love any kind of like dual launch system and everything like that. That's just so fun. And that's really interesting about the lighting too. And if you bring up anything Back to the Future, I'm also sold. So, even if it's not like a Back to the Future ride, if there's any references to Back to the Future, I'm sign me up. So, everything about this is speaking my language.
Well, I may not be a big coaster girly, but I literally was telling this to Matthew yesterday that I want to be comfortable with roller coasters and be okay with them before Epic opens because I know it's a big it's a big thing to say because I say that as someone who still hasn't done Hagrid's or Rock and Roller Coaster. So, I will be getting on those soon though. Don't even worry about it. They will be coming soon. But it just seems really cool. I think the external lighting thing, I feel like this is gonna sound really bad, but I feel like it kind of gives Tron, not the ride, but like Tron. You know what I mean? Like with you get it. Uh, so I feel like that could be really cool. The how fast is the 62 miles an hour is very nice to me. I like that. But it's the 133 feet tall thing that's like, maybe I don't. So who knows? I'm excited. There's other rides I'm more excited for, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I'll be riding it when Epic opens. We'll see what happens.
For me personally, I'm excited, but also I'm a little hesitant for this roller coaster in particular. Just seeing what it looks like so far, it is a wild ride for sure. I have ridden every roller coaster in Orlando, minus one particular one at Epcot that recently opened. But okay, two roller coasters in Orlando. But I I'm a huge lover of roller coasters, but one of the things that gets me is airtime, and also with the airtime, when your body leaves the seat. Not really a huge fan on that. For some people, great, fantastic. For me, not so much. So I think depending on like the restraint system that we see on the actual cars themselves and how you're held in will be a huge factor for me. And if it'll be like a repeat ride, like with Velocicoaster, I love it. It's an incredible ride. No hate to Velocicoaster, but not a fan of just being held in by my thighs. I would prefer like a old, traditional method like we have on the Hulk with an over the shoulder restraint system. Just because it, feels a bit more safe to me personally. But definitely will be on my radar of things that I will ride the first day that I'm there at the park.
Right on. I respect that because it's freaky to me riding Velocicoaster for the first time and going, "How am I upside down by my thighs?" Luckily, I think there's only luckily for you, I think there's only the one inversion uh, on it, maybe two. Uh, Not like some of the other ones, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how intense that airtime gets because I know Mako. I pray every time. Uh, they've got the Constellation Carousel. So like these two rides are really leaning into that celestial part. Starfall, one reason why there's no external lighting is so it looks like there's comets flying, is the way they've described it. And Constellation Carousel, it's based on creatures inspired by constellations. So like dragons and bears and all the other animals that you look up in the sky and you see. You get to ride those, and it looks bigger compared to like something like Carousel, which is the other carousel on Universal Orlando property. Um, I think it's going to look like a really relaxing time. I don't know if y'all have any thoughts about that before we get into food. Um, does anyone? It's a carousel.
It seems cute. I don't usually have strong opinions on carousels, except for that I hope that it's more comfortable than the carousel because I think I've officially gotten too old, too big. I don't know what the answer is for that ride because my legs are too long and there's nowhere to put my feet. So I think I've given up on the carousel. So I hope it's more comfortable.
They tried to put me on the carousel, but my legs were too long.
I
Quality
will do whatever
reference.
it takes to ride the carousel sometimes, depending on, how many drinks I've had in a day. But I will say before we go on to the next part, I've seen a few of the, overhead aerial photos, and I think with this one, I think they're trying to set it apart from a traditional carousel, and they're trying to modernize it a little bit. And from what it looks like, don't quote me on this because it just looks like, but it looks like they took the concept of carousel and then um the spinning flat ride over in Marvel Superhero Island, where they have different little pods of like 3 or 4 on the actual bigger platform itself, and they said, "Okay, now combine them." So it'll be like your own little spinning pod, so you're spinning on one, but you're also, like, spinning on this big platform is what it looked like. So I think it'll be cool to see if that is something that does come to fruition with that, and how it can bring a carousel into a modern day theme park.
Yeah, we will see. Matthew, as you said earlier, though, that food does look. It'll be interesting to see what food that they will have. But they have announced 2 restaurants. So they sound pretty big. You've got Atlantic with the Aquaria Bar, seafood and steak restaurant themed to like an Atlanta style, like under the sea. The fish are above you. You look out, and there's a little lake, kind of doohickey. You've also got the Blue Dragon Pan Asian restaurant with the Tiger Bar, which is like neon. It's got authentic Asian fare and hanging lanterns. That one, they both look very pretty. I will probably eat at both at some point during the park's existence. I do like my seafood. I do like my neon. So those both sound really interesting to me. But I think one thing that sounds most interesting about them is like I can't think of most theme parks outside like Epcot where it's like, yes, our signature food is seafood and steakhouse, and also like basically Morimoto Asia. That's reserved for like Disney Springs and City Walk, not necessarily on the inside. Like Mythos, it's good, but it's not like steakhouse, it's not like and like Finnegan's, it's authentic Irish, and Lombard's is like all seafood, but these seem like they're on like a different plane, like they're trying to be. I mean, that's what the hub kind of is. It's kind of like City Walk away from City Walk, but also pretty and with the roller coaster, and you can go right into the other lands and stuff. So I think the fact that they're elevating the food, one, I hope it lasts long if that's what their goal is, because I know Volcano Bay opened with some really interesting foods, and then they kind of pulled that back a little bit after the first year or two. So hopefully they stick with that. But I do think it's pretty bold. Hopefully that speaks to some of the more interesting food options and like Dark Universe and uh, How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk, and the others. But Matthew, we were just talking about food. What do you think about these 2 announced places and their bars?
I am very excited for personally the Atlantic restaurant out of the 2. Blue Dragon sounds incredible, and I love me some good Asian food as well. But I think when it comes down to, seafood and steak versus Asian food, I would have to go with a steak. I know it's probably going to be a little pricey inside of a brand new theme park, but I think I will bite the bullet at least once to give it a shot and see how it goes. Because again, like you said, it's not something that you traditionally see inside of the parks. And I think it's also fun to see themed bars becoming a regular occurrence inside of the park as well. And so, just with the way that they're worded with Aquaria Bar and the Tiger Bar, to see how they can also infuse that into the cocktails that they'll be serving. Um, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Mocktails too. I like cocktail, like the alcoholic drinks they do, but also like a fun mocktail is a fun mocktail, and I will rarely say no to that.
I really hope there are. Like, I know Universal's trying to do more mocktails, but I feel like with the new theme park, I would hope that they would include them. Because like you said, you can't pass up a fun mocktail. I love a good mocktail. I do. I love it. Um, yeah, I think this is gonna be really cool. I'm excited.
I want to see edible glitter used. And I would love mocktails if you're listening, Universal, because uh if you've been listening, I don't really drink that much. So I'm also always down for a fun mocktail. Um, and I would love something glittery.
Yeah. And then to close it out, they've announced Astronomica, which is basically an interactive wet play attraction is what they call it. It's like a little splash pad, but it's not really little. It's you play with the fountains and stuff. And I like that they're leaning into the whole fountain stuff. We're not experiencing it right now because they've been refurbing the show since the last hurricane. But rest in peace, Coolish. And the other nighttime water show that I'm forgetting the name of because it wasn't around very long. Uh, you were great. You were before your time, or maybe after your time. I don't know. It depends on who you ask. The point is, they used to do fountains in the daytime, and that was so fun. It made that area more fun, especially when your friends are getting engaged as like really good Universal music and fountains are going off. I was there. It was phenomenal. So I am glad that they're leaning into the fountains and making that wet play attraction. I remember when Poseidon's Fury was opening up. In the concept art, there's supposed to be like a little splash pad for the kids in the queue, like in that outdoor queue, and you can see it, where it's supposed to be. But then they're like, maybe that's not safe, the way we've got this going. So now that they're leaning back into it 25 years later, uh, with heightened awareness of what makes a good and safe area. Yeah, I think it's great. I think that interactivity makes this area stick out a bit more. And then quickly, you're gonna have a Nintendo store out in the main hub, which yay. So you don't have to keep on going into a very, very busy land, which I'm sure that's gonna be the busiest land. You can just do it in there. And there's a hotel on the property, the Helios Grand Hotel, which has not happened yet at Universal Orlando. Yes, Kelly, very expensive, probably, most definitely. That's going to be on the back side of the park, so you can enter through the front, and there will be, I believe, Nintendo and Dragons. And then on the other side of the park, you got the hotel, and you can come in the back way next to Dark Universe and Potter. But before we move on to those different lands, Astronomica and Helios Grand, I mean, you guys might have thoughts about the Nintendo store, but really, the Astronomica and Helios Grand, those are the big ones. New hotel on property and interactive play area. Uh, any thoughts before we move on?
I think the play area would be a really good place for, like I have uh sister-in-laws and brother-in-laws that have, children, and they don't always have a lot to do at Universal. So a lot of times they're like, oh, we're not going to go to Universal because there's not really anything for them there. But like I'm thinking about, I have a sister-in-law who gets kind of motion sickness, so she doesn't usually want to go on like the big rides or anything like that. So I can just like imagine her like with her kids in this like fun area, like taking a break while everyone's like, maybe people are running to like bigger rides and things like that, or riding the roller coaster right next door to that area. So I think that's a great addition. I think it's good to have things like that. Like, at Islands, it's the Seuss playground area, which could definitely use some love. So to have something more modern that's available for people that are younger or don't want to necessarily go on the rides and are kind of just trying to have a good time, I think that's a great addition. Um, and then the hotel just sounds incredible, and I would love to stay there. I'm not sure how I will ever have the money. I'm sure it's going to be absolutely ridiculous and it's going to book quickly, but that's just going to be amazing.
That hotel's gonna be gone in a millisecond for the foreseeable future, and I'm very upset about it because I think it could be. I think it's gonna be really awesome, and I think it's gonna be nice to. There's not really park hotel access like that in Florida, actually. Yeah, no. So it'll be the first of its kind here. I know Disneyland has a good amount of that, or I guess just Pixar. But I also kind of not like comparing the two, but like Pixar, they have a lot of exclusive character meets over there. Are we gonna see things influenced and like present in the hotel? But also that could also be a problem because guests are gonna be like, and they don't have a reservation. It's probably gonna be very strict trying to get into the hotel. Um, but I don't know. I think it's gonna be cool. Just like as I said for the other thing, I think also the splash pad wet play fountain thing is there's a lot of names. I think it's gonna be cool. Um, I think it will be fun. That's really all I got on it. I have no opinion of it. I think people will enjoy it. Will I enjoy it? Maybe, but I know a lot of other people will greatly enjoy it.
Looking at the hotel for me personally, I am very excited. I love the concept art of the outside. I don't remember which of the concept arts that were released was specifically the inside. I don't know if they released an inside one of Grand Helios yet. Maybe it was the other two, Stella Nova or Terra something, whatever
Yeah,
they're called.
yeah.
But I am definitely looking forward to exploring those and just seeing the overall theme because I love a good immersive theme. Um, Pros and cons, obviously, love the good hotel access directly into the park, but if we can also look at some of the ground permits, over on the like, if you're looking at the park from the front side, on the back left corner over behind Monsters, and then off to the left side of the hotel, in some of the site permits, it shows that there is a future parade building, which is right beside the hotel. So I am intrigued to see how that process is going to look within that department and what it'll entail for rehearsals and maybe their operation and how they run things. Because if you know anything about like entertainment and performing and parades and the whole shebang of, getting one open from start to finish, there's a lot of things, a lot of pieces and moving parts involved, costumes as well being a huge thing, and character integrity. So I am intrigued to see how Universal will handle that with a hotel that is literally, on the crevice of the park where guests will be able to see everything, especially all of like the nighttime cleaning crew operations. I don't know if they're gonna like care about that at all, but I'm intrigued to see what Universal does with that and how they go forward. But I'm definitely looking forward to the hotel, and I will try to be one of those people that fights tooth and nail to get a hotel room as soon as it opens. Can I afford it? To be determined. But will I try to book it? Absolutely. I was there when they did the COVID versions of HHN, and I fought tooth and nail to get into the park that day, even though it hit capacity, but I'll do it again.
That's what credit cards are for, Matthew. It's fine. Just take the hit for all of us and then come back on the show and tell us how it was.
Speak on it, Matthew. I feel like I'm just like you're automatically like I feel like I just like have to be your plus one. Like this is my audition now to be your plus one. I will gladly, pay however much it ends up being. I'll do it. I'm in. I'm in. I'm in.
But have you considered having a +3 though?
And a plus four.
I have not considered the number of pluses that I will be potentially bringing to the hotel. However, I am definitely one of those people that says to the hotel, yeah, only, one adult in the hotel room, and then like
And
you
there's
shove a group of like 7 people in there. So
yep. For
Universal doesn't
legal
need to know that
reasons,
there's for legal reasons they don't need to
this
know.
is a joke. It's a movie, actually. It's not real.
Yeah,
It's a
Listen,
Universal Pictures movie. It's not real.
if
yeah. I
it's
have
if it's Helios, is that what it's called? Helios, right?
mhm.
If it's Helios, I'll sleep on the floor, I'll sleep on the bathtub, I'll sleep in the closet, I'll sleep under the bed. I don't care. I'll sleep on the porch, like whatever you need.
Pay no
We will
attention to the bunk bed, the makeshift bunk bed in the closet. We're not there.
Pay no attention to the bed made on the ironing board.
pay no attention to the hotel key maker that we bring with us and we copy our key 17 times. No, would
Not
never.
at all. Not at all. So in the next couple, oh, before I move on, Bella, when you're talking about things in Orlando that are like this, I think the closest thing we have is probably the boardwalk on the backside of Epcot, but that is a hike, if I remember correctly.
It is a hike and a half, and I hate it.
This is like a next door neighbor, so definitely a very unique thing. Um, yeah, very exciting. Also exciting, they did announce the four main lands. They did not go into detail in these, and while there are a lot of rumors of what could be in there, we are going to get a slow rollout of what those all will be. So I think it might be more exciting to talk about the real information, although right now, like, if you want those juicy rumors, be sure you follow Alicia Stella at Orlando ParkStop. She's been reporting on this for 5 years. She's my go-to source on this. And yeah, and of course, BioReconstruct on Twitter is posting photos all the time. We love you, Bio. What a mensch. But yes, let's talk about those lands real fast. And then afterwards, I'll ask y'all, like, what are you looking forward to most, just with the properties that they've chosen? What kind of stuff are you excited to do? I know most of us are definitely thinking one in particular, but let's not forget about the other four. Number one is Super Nintendo World and the Donkey Kong expansion. We've known about this. I think Mark Woodbury called it the worst kept secret in Universal history. Um, to that, I say, did you try to make it a secret? We knew it was coming. Well, what's exciting about this is it's going to have all the stuff from Japan. In the announcement video, they did say the Donkey Kong expansion is going to be there with the minecart roller coaster that they're building over in Japan. It's coming here. Amusement Insider is always doing those breakdowns of what it could look like, the visualizations, and it looks pretty sick. And of course, you're going to get the Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge AR interactive dark ride, which is something I've never done, so I'm excited to do that. Then Yoshi's Adventure. So that's over in Japan. Uh, the other lands that we have, where we don't have all the information, is How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk. I've arrived in time, it seems, to correct a little misstatement. Future Adam here in the edit. So there was an announcement of How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk and all the things that were going to be going into that, all the attractions. That came out days after this recording. We knew there's an announcement coming. I think we allude to that in a few minutes. But we didn't know exactly what it was. So if we seem a little clueless about an announcement everyone's already reacted to, well, that is why. That is why we just said we don't know what's going on at How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk, but you're seeing the video now of what that looks like. And needless to say, all four of us are extremely excited. We are more excited than we thought we would be, especially Kelly, Bella, and I. We weren't expecting to be super pumped, but now seeing that announcement video, we are indeed super pumped. Our reactions are a bit outdated, but you know what? That's the nature of podcasts. So just throwing that out there. Very excited, but that's why we don't say any specifics about this land. Anyway, enjoy the rest of the episode. Going back to you. The Dark Universe. Hopefully with the better land than the last time that you did the Dark Universe. But yay, monsters! um, and then, of course, Universal's going to do this. Of course they are. The Wizarding World of Harry Potter comes back a third time with the Ministry of Magic, with 1920s Paris and 1990s London. Okay. And so, everyone, what are you looking forward to most?
Well, I personally, my TikTok For You page recently gifted me the gift of one of the renderings of the Donkey Kong ride, like just someone kind of guessing. But I remember when they were building Hagrid's and Velocicoaster, I was always seeing those, and they ended up being correct. Completely. I didn't like when they were doing Hagrid's. I did not think that a vertical drop was gonna work. I was like, there's no way that's illegal. Somehow it's illegal. I know it is. um, and then it's there. But what I saw of Donkey Kong, that looks so awesome. It looks so cool, especially like the whole mechanism of how you're gonna jump track. Like what they're guessing is it's like an arm and it's like connected you, and it just looks so cool. It's gonna look so cool on the ride, and I just think it's gonna be a good vibe ride. But I'm also so excited for Dark Universe. I feel like that's gonna be a common theme with everyone else. um but Dark Universe, I think it's gonna be so cool. um I'm just like, I don't really have words for like anything. Like, I'm just like in awe of like the potential, and that we're getting a brand new theme park in Orlando. Like, it's just so mind blowing. But also, I did see the picture of the mural in the Wizarding World thing of the dragon. One, crazy that that's already there. Because we're still a year and ish out. And two, it looks really pretty. I've also never seen the Fantastic Beasts movies. I'm assuming that's what this is. Because I fell off of Harry Potter after the 5th one. Sorry. Okay,
Well,
I
dang.
I was reading every book and then watching the movie. Oh wait, no, the 6th one. The 6th one. No. Which one is Goblet of Fire? 4. Yeah. So the 4 was the last one I watched. Because I was reading them as I went, and 5 was so boring that I just stopped halfway through. So I never finished the series. I know a little bit of what happens, but I don't know a whole lot. I just know that if I do end up watching it, I will be emotionally destroyed. But anyway, long story short, I've never seen Fantastic Beasts. Maybe I'll watch them. Maybe I won't. Um, but I've seen a lot of like cool renderings and stuff of what this could all look like and like the ride, and I think it's gonna be really pretty. And yeah, I'm mostly excited for Dark Universe and Mario. I will not lie. But also How to Train Your Dragon. I'm not like I feel like I can't. I'm excited for all of them. This is too overwhelming, guys. I can't do it.
I don't think I need to answer this question, but the answer is monsters. It's Dark Universe is the only thing I've been thinking about since I learned about its existence. So even its possible existence, I was like, this better exist. And I'm very excited that it will. So that for sure is my number one, but I'm really excited about everything. I love Oh my gosh, I've loved Nintendo my entire life. A Nintendo Land has always been my dream. Back when there were rumors about Marvel Superhero Island going away, I was hoping that it was going to be a Nintendo area, but this is going to be better. This is going
I
to be
was
like,
gonna lose Spider-Man.
yeah, you still might, but it's
What do
not,
you mean?
it's, well, I don't know. Adam might have more to say about this.
I
About
better
what?
not lose
Mario?
Spider-Man.
The
About
old
whether or
Mario?
not Marvel Superhero Island is
Matthew
going to
witnessed
die.
my deep love of Spider-Man the ride in person the other day. I can't lose Spider-Man.
It
It's the
just depends.
best ride ever.
Yeah, it really is. Listen,
Thanks.
Universal
Thank
Japan
you.
closed their Spider-Man. We still have our Spider-Man in Orlando. They're probably turning theirs into Pikachu. Or did I just sound like a '90s mom? Play your Pikachu. Um, they're probably gonna make a Pokemon, but here we have the Universal has the rights in Orlando in perpetuity to Marvel.
Yeah.
Disney just can't use the Marvel name, so it really depends if Universal's like, we could freshen it up, we could change this up,
Well,
but I don't think they will myself because Spider-Man's a classic still
they
after all
like
this time.
can't do that. Like refurb it, put some new scenes in. That'd be kind of slay. But like, I think that would be the first and only ride I would literally chain myself to. Um, I would literally haunt the show building. It would be bad if they ever took that away from me. Anyway, off topic. Continue.
Yeah, they could take like Velocicoaster and Hagrid's from me before they could take Spider-Man from me. I refuse to part with that ride. But anyway, I've been excited about the idea of like what's the word I'm looking for? A Nintendo area, that's the word, for a long time. So I'm super excited about that. I think it looks incredible what they're doing in Japan and California. So, right? California has it too? Hollywood?
Nintendo?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a smaller
Okay.
one, so they don't have the Yoshi ride with Captain Toad.
Right. Okay. Yes.
They
I'm
really
on
just have
TikTok.
Mario Kart
Yeah,
and
I'm
the
on
Toadstool
TikTok so
Cafe.
much that like I forget what is what. But the Yoshi ride is so cute. Anyway, so I'm excited about all of that. I love How to Train Your Dragon as well. I've only seen the first movie though, so I
Oh.
guess I need to catch up on my lore. Um, as far as Harry Potter, I actually did like the first Fantastic Beasts movie. The second one was terrible, and I'll probably never watch the third one because I don't care anymore. But I will say, I feel like, and we've been pretty open about this, like J.K. Rowling has really tarnished my, love of Harry Potter. So I'm sure I'll still be excited and feel the nostalgia, but I'll just have to wear my like trans ally merch into that land to you know, she won't be there, but it'll be nice for me. But I think it's an interesting concept. I'm curious about the execution, but it's definitely the area I'm least excited for. Like you're telling me like I can see the Universal monsters and ride a dragon and like do all of the incredible things in the Nintendo area, and then like I'm supposed to be excited about the Ministry of Magic. Eh, eh. But you know, it's fine. I'm sure it'll be cool, I guess. What do you think, Matthew?
Yeah.
Hey, I was like, any other thoughts? For me, I kind of share the same thought as to not being overly excited for Wizarding World part what 17 it feels like don't get me wrong, no tea, no shade, no lemonade. Love the other two, but this one's like, okay, Universal, love ya, but let's wrap it up. Um, and that's not to diss anyone that loves Harry Potter and the franchise and Fantastic Beasts and all that, but I am more excited for two different things, and it's also not Nintendo because I am a lover of Nintendo. I love Mario Kart. I love losing to my roommate when we race on Mario Kart every time. Thank you, Rainbow Road. Um, but I'm really excited for both monsters, but more so specifically, I think I'm excited for How to Train Your Dragons. I have always had a soft spot for that franchise in my heart because it came out in my, teenage years. During COVID, I rescued a cat when I was leaving a shift from my job back then. It was like midnight, and I saw these two green eyes looking back at me in the middle of the highway, and I was like, let's go pick it up. And it turned out to be a baby kitten who was like maybe 2 weeks old, completely jet black, green eyes, and I was like, "You look like Toothless. That's gonna be your name." So I named my cat Toothless, and he is not toothless in the slightest, and I have some scars to prove that. So I am just so excited to see that land come to life and the different elements that'll come with it. I I've thought about like, will we see the different types of merch like Disney has an Avatar where you can have like a pet dragon on your shoulder? Is that something we're gonna see in Epic Universe? Or, the all of the other cool things that they could do with like the animatronic owl that they just introduced for Wizarding World that you can also put on your shoulder. I guess we're really looking at a lot of different things you can put on your shoulder for Epic Universe. Um, but I'm also excited for the rumored show that will be in How to Train Your Dragons. We can talk more on that later, but we're very excited for that because a huge love for entertainment and a huge love for the art of puppetry and seeing what they've already done with the show overseas and the company that brought it to life, Creature Technology Company. If you guys ever hear this, love you, love your work. It's incredible. We'll chat more later on that one. But also, just within the monsters land, I know I can wish all that I want. And Universal, if you hear me on this, I hope and pray that you do. I will fight for this until the day that I die. You better bring back Beetlejuice's Graveyard Review right now, or we're gonna have some really harsh words when I get there. Okay.
I
So,
will fight with you on that one. I loved that show.
I want to
thank
experience
you.
it so bad. I need to experience this fever dream acid trip thing.
It was
World in
honestly, it was
2 months.
probably my favorite show that was on Universal property. And then when it closed, I had to find a different one. And I found my shows, here and there since then. But it feels like every time I have a dream that something that I want to do that I love so much, it's like Universal's like, hee hee, you see this little treat over here? Yeet. And they yank it away from me, aka Jaws Skipper wanted to do that, wanted to work at Twister, wanted to be in Beetlejuice. The list just keeps
What
going.
if
Wanted to
we're
be
Twister?
I did. I actually
You're so cute. I love
back
you.
when they still had Twister, they had the little behind the scenes tour that you could do. And it was really cool seeing the ride operation room, not really ride, show operation room. They had this little sensor that essentially that like you had to keep your hand on the sensor the entire time. But the moment that you lifted your hand off of the sensor for the final show scene, like it was a complete e-stop of the show and everything stopped. And so you had to keep your hand on that the entire time because there's like pyrotechnics, there's things flying around, there's like massive winds in that room. So it was a very interesting process. And one of the things that they did was like with the VIP tour or whatever you want to call it, they were like, okay, now that you've seen the show once, you get to put your hand on the sensor. And I was like, what, I don't know, 14 years old. And I was like, this is so cool. So I have a little button still to this day that I have kept in a keepsake jar, that says Storm Chaser of the Day from the old I'm Celebrating Universal buttons, where I got to do that in that showroom. And I was like, it was just so cool. So yeah,
I love
don't
that.
even know how I got here, but
I
Um,
love how your dream was to dump buckets of water on people. That's basically what that ride was.
essentially,
Dump buckets, shoot sharks.
sounds like a pretty great dream to me.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, I mean, I'm with everyone. Dark Universe. I was thinking about Dr. Victoria Frankenstein for days after that announcement. Bring in the women! Women. And horror. Final girl. I don't know what she's going to be. I'm just very excited to see my monsters. Universal Monsters, as everyone knows, it's like my favorite franchise. I love them. I love them dearly.
Women in STEM.
women.
Women.
I didn't mean to laugh at that, I promise.
Are you
It's just the way you
misogynistic,
said
Matthew?
no, I
During
love it.
Women's History Month?
No, no, my favorite show at Universal is Celestina Warbeck and the Banshees. Love them, queens, icons. But like,
He said, I'm not misogynistic. My favorite show is Celestina Warbeck.
promise.
Oh, Matthew, I love you.
Thank you.
Obsessed with you.
I'll be here all week.
First, you want to work at Twister. Two, you're not misogynistic because your favorite show is Celestina Warbeck.
That is a true fact. I have been pulled up on stage twice for that show to dance with them during the audience participation moment.
You should be the first male banshee.
Ooh,
That's
I don't know
like,
if Universal shares that same dream.
I will share the dream and I will make it happen.
I would like have to like design a whole costume for that. They'd have to change. There would be a lot of things that would go into making a male banshee track for that show. So don't really know if that's a reality, but you know maybe more entertainment within the wizarding world other than the the frog choir show, drum string, and frog. Did I say frog choir already? Sorry if I did.
Beetle the Bard.
There we go. That's the one. Love them. Love the puppetry. But like, let's see some more musical theater in the park. Can I get an amen? Thank you.
Amen.
Amen.
And scene.
But yes, I'm excited to see how Monsters goes down. I no good segue. That was amazing though. The there's gonna be roller coasters with the monsters. Gosh, I love the monsters. Um, Mario, Nintendo World, definitely excited to try. Like, how can you not be? Uh, yeah, I mean, it's looked great for the past 4 years or 3 years, seeing it out in Japan on videos, and just to actually experience it, it's just gonna be like, oh my gosh, I'm here. How to Train Your Dragon. I'm with my co-host, and unfortunately, not like you, Matthew, who has such a wonderful, wonderful personal connection to that franchise. I've only seen the first movie in theaters in 2010. I've not revisited it. I've been meaning to forever. Now I have a very good reason to because it'll be in a great new theme park. And so I think when I do, then I'll get into it. And some of the rumored rides and the construction updates look very fun, very exciting. And I really think Ministry of Magic, like we've heard rumors like, oh, is Ministry of Magic going to replace Fear Factor? Is it going to happen at all? Is it going to be broomsticks? Is it going to be something else? I think I mean, I agree with everyone here at the table as far as the J.K. Rowling of it all. But I think the weirdest thing about this is in this video, they're talking all about like we're elevating our storytelling. We're doing more of the great storytelling that you all beg for from us. And so we're gonna put it all together in this new Harry Potter ride in the Ministry of Magic, but we can't decide when it takes place. So take some 1920s Paris for an attraction that takes place in 1990s London. Um, from This is supposed to be like probably the signature ride of the resort, and I think it's really going to be most of what looking at the area map. I think there's a rumored show. I think Alicia was saying, and then there's this massive attraction that's going to be very involved. So maybe this is going to be like the layup, and that's all the excuse you need for this land to exist. I just wish, from a storytelling perspective, that they could have made a decision. A time turner, though, is apparently the icon of this land. So who knows? Who knows? But I mean, I'll be there for Dark Universe and everything. But definitely Dark Universe. Shout out to kind of rolling into like the story of the park. They're really setting this up to be like the ultimate place to experience adventures and to have dreams. I think that's kind of what the Chronos is kind of fueled by. I might be making that up. Maybe that's just me spouting nonsense. But they took Dr. Frankenstein's line, one of his lines from the movie Frankenstein, to kind of be the thesis of the park in this announcement video. And I thought that was really, really cool. Like, they're not just like, oh, yeah, for our weirdos who go to Halloween Horror Nights and like love seeing blood and guts and stuff and like really identify with these monsters, they get a land, sure. Like, no, they're really leaning into it and making like a central part of the park's identity, which I love that. And yeah, just the idea of like making a park full of adventures and dreams. I think that kind of differentiates it from Islands, which is adventures through more literature and then Kong, but literature and then Kong. Your comic books and your Sunday funnies, Kill the Fly, Dr. Seuss, and uh, myths and legends. Like, it's just adventuring through the stories that we tell. This is adventuring through the dreams that we have. I think it's kind of the difference between those two. Bella.
Speaking of Universal Monsters and HHN, I know this is probably redundant, and I know they're building a perma in Vegas, but my goal, not goal, I have no help in building this. I don't know why I would say goal. My number one want and dream, and I know it's probably not going to happen, is some sort of haunt thing in Dark Universe. Make like a little scare zone, but not really. Have them walking around. I don't know. I need something so I can go from November-ish to August and get a little fix so I don't have to go to Vegas, because also who knows when that's opening, because I know they're building though. I saw stuff they're building, but like I just feel like it's a missed opportunity if they don't, but I also completely understand if they don't. Like, but I don't know. Maybe it'll be there. Maybe it'll be there. Maybe they could, oh my god, imagine if they could like recycle old Universal Monster houses. That'd be cool. That would be very impossible and hard to do. But that would be really cool, because then they could be like, oh my god, we're gonna bring back Universal Monsters 2019 for like a couple months. Have fun, and then I'll cry. Like, that would be so fun.
And then they'll bring the bride house back, and then Adam will cry.
And Adam, we will have to literally drag Adam out of there on closing day.
And then
On
they'll
the
bring
day it
Unmasked
leaves.
back, and
And
I
we will have to
cry.
drag you out.
It'll actually be a marathon. Like, they in the Monsters Land, it's a marathon of all 4 to 5 or 6, however many there are, monsters houses, and then during Halloween they introduce one of the Hollywood houses.
Oh my god,
The
imagine.
Universal Monster series. You never tried Universal Monsters, Frankenstein and the Wolfman? Here you go.
Literally, they can like bring in the other part of Unmasked. No, they didn't get Unmasked. The other part of, oh, they did their
Yeah, but
version.
Legends was the part 2.
That one. They'll bring in Legends, which I would be fine if they left that one out and just like didn't do that one at all. So I really didn't like it. It's my least favorite of them all that I've done. But I don't know. I think it'd be cool. I think it'd also be a missed opportunity, but also, like I said, I get it if it's not there. I will just be like 5%, 25% sad. That's more realistic.
I don't see them doing an HHN here though, just because it's so IP heavy. Like, I think with Islands, it's a logistical nightmare just because of how narrow those walkways are. And just because I remember when they did it for the caretaker year, I think they're like, you start here and you go around and you hit them. That's the way this park is designed right now. I think that's probably the biggest reason why they haven't put it there. Also, you can't have any houses in Seuss, and like, it's a whole thing. I think even though it's a bigger park, it's just so dedicated to these IPs that you will have to be like, Miyamoto, can we put in blood and guts in the Luigi Mansion or or whatever. You know, take Bowser out and put like a real skeleton. Uh, try to figure that. I think that'd just be too much of a nightmare.
Put a
I
chupacabra instead of Bowser one day.
hey,
I almost said capybara, by the way. I had to fight really hard not to say capybara.
switch out the AR. I'm just putting that out there in case like the rumors start getting really heavy next year, which I don't think it will. Would it be great if it did? I would be there. Like, don't get me wrong, I would be there, but I don't know. I don't know. Let's talk about entertainment. Matthew, I know you had some thoughts about like dragons and some of the entertainment that you are hoping to see there, and kind of the logistics. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So let's start with dragons and kind of work our way around from there. So with dragons, we know there is obviously the rumored show that we've already seen from overseas. Some of the questions that have been raised is, will it be identical? Will it be, will it have a new identity with like a slightly different, what's the right word I'm looking for? Hello. A different storyline. We'll just go with the simpler word. Will what is it gonna look like? Is it what are we getting at Universal? Is it gonna be the identical thing? Because I know like that is something that we've done a couple different times now with just transplanting things around the world. Love ya, but also it's like maybe let's slightly change it up a bit. I don't know. Because this is our third Nintendo land. No hate, no shade, no lemonade. But again, if you can do the same thing at the international parks, it gives you less of a reason to go there because you already have that same exact thing here. So I'm looking forward to it. More so specifically for me personally, I love watching the shows and looking at all of like the technical elements and the different things that go into the shows. I thought when Born Stuntacular first opened, I was blown away because I was a big time hater as soon as it was announced, and I was like, "This is stupid. This is gonna be absolute crap." And I said, "You're gonna have to work real hard to impress me." And boy, they sure did, and I was wrong. So, I am very excited to see these larger than life hopeful puppets brought onto stage and what that's going to look like blending what's real and what is on a screen behind you, and just huge shout out to the company that has already crafted the ones overseas and done other big projects around the world, the Creature Technology Company. They are the ones that made the puppets for Untrainable overseas, and they have also done some pretty big projects that you may or may not have heard of, like going all the way back in the vaults to Walking with Dinosaurs, a live experience back in like 2010-ish. And then there was a How to Train Your Dragons arena tour that they did as well. It was like kind of an overlay of what they did, but not really an overlay. It was like, not getting technical. They've done the Olympics, they've done stuff on Broadway for the Rockettes. So I'm really excited to see their work being brought into the theme parks here because the only other really big show that we have that has any sort of like big time puppetry is I think over at Nemo and Animal Kingdom. So I'm excited to see it brought into another park and what it can look like here. But also it makes me wonder, is it going to be anywhere else in the park? Like, are we going to see an opening ceremony show every single day at the front of the park at the Kronos? I think that would be really fun to look into. Like, is there an original character, a time traveler, or someone that opens the Kronos or the park every day, revs it up, does whatever? Going back, entertainment. Let's work to Nintendo. Excited to see those characters brought into the parks. I know they've already brought them over into Hollywood. I am hoping though with the ones that are here that they can get a little bit more work put into them because I know they are interactive characters where they can talk to you and they have their different phrases and slogans that they say. I am very excited to see that technology brought into our modern day theme park meet and greets because we haven't had a talking character since Mickey. Oof, that's been a second. So excited to see that and just the technology brought back into the parks. But going into monsters, like going back on what Bella said, like, is there going to be like a year-round haunt? I
I'm really excited to see how they blend the entertainment into this land, because I feel like this has the biggest competition and potential, rivaling up against How to Train Your Dragons with what you can do. Can you have your monsters actually meet during the day or at nighttime? Does the town transform into, this monster run amok type thing? Are there villagers that are screaming and crying and bloodied up? Like, who knows? I am very excited, and if I get to meet Frankenstein's monster or the Wolfman or Bride of Frankenstein or just anyone at all, maybe we could get Fantasia back from Beetlejuice's Graveyard Review. Maybe we can meet her again. Whatever Universal's really feeling on that one. I think it'd be really fun to actually be able to meet the monsters, because other than that, I don't think you've been able to have that opportunity since like an HHN Dine back when Monsters Cafe was around. Rest in peace. And then, there's just Wizarding World. So yeah,
Wizarding World is giving, and she's there.
and
That
she's
one
there.
TikTok audio.
Oh, but also the parade, the potential parade for the future expansion that's in the plans. Really excited for that, and seeing how they can mesh these four completely different type, things into one cohesive parade. But we've done that before with Superstar Parade. Those were four very distinct properties that they were like, yeah, let's put it all together and make a little thing. So I'm very excited to see what Universal does with the entertainment, and I am excited for what they bring forward.
Thank you so much, Matthew, for joining us and giving us some great insight and some great thoughts on Epic Universe. I'm very excited to see what goes down there in the very, very near future, sometime in 2025. But as we mentioned at the top of the show, this is our 5-year anniversary. Theme Park Workshop launched in February of 2019. Myself, Adam Johnson, which I don't think I said earlier. So hi, I'm Adam Johnson. you know,
Wait, really?
I am Adam Johnson, and I've been here
What?
5 years. I was the first face you probably saw if you've been here since the beginning, when we did a video called "What Does Theme Park Story Matter?" And then Jonathan fixed the grammar with "Why Does Theme Park Story Matter?" And yes, that we started this channel talking about theme park stories, and we made more wonderful videos with quirky characters like Balthazar Banshee and BB-27 and Mr. Rogers himself talking about Star Wars. And as time went on, Jonathan found many great opportunities. So excited for him and all that's going on there. If you want to hear more about that, go to episode 20. But in episode 21, and then officially in episode 22, I was joined by two wonderful co-hosts, Bella Harvey and Kelly Hoffman, who you are seeing before you today. And we've done 32 episodes together now, I think is the count, because there's the 2 HHN episodes with Nicole Wills, and now we've done episodes 21 through 50 now. I think that counts right. Get in the comments. Tell me if I'm
We're
wrong.
middle-aged.
So middle-aged.
We're middle-aged.
I remember when they first invented podcasts. But we've done a lot of episodes together. Yeah, so let's just talk about it. Bella, I'm gonna throw the imaginary basketball to you first. What's some of the favorite episodes that you've done here at Theme Park Workshop?
Um, this might be a little biased, but I think my favorite episode is when it was just me and you, Adam, and we talked about theme park photography. That one was just really special because I just got to talk all about my most favorite passion and love and hopefully career at some point. And it was just really fun. I got to talk about all my experiences and kind of everything that I've learned, and I thought it was really fun. I also really enjoyed um when we talked about Howl-O-Scream at SeaWorld, getting to recap my first media event, and the one for the podcast too. and it was just really cool. It's something I've always wanted, and got to talk about it on my podcast with my friends, and it was just like it was the best. And obviously, I love our Horror Nights recaps because they are very long and very chaotic, and it's just a good time. I feel like honestly, I feel like this is cheesy, but every episode is honestly my favorite in like one way or another because they're all just like it's just so much fun. We have so much fun. It's always a good time.
Callie, what about you? What's some of your favorite episodes and moments?
Ooh,
I'll toss moments to you afterwards too, Bella. But favorite
yeah.
episodes.
I would say some of my favorite episodes. So this is before my time, but I really love Adam, your Mr. Rogers Star Wars Galaxy's Edge video a lot. That's one of my favorites from before we joined. I have a really soft spot in my heart for all of our episodes that we did with Nicole when we were guests before we joined because I had been on a couple of podcasts before, like Disney podcasts and things like that, but it was just not this, this is like the most special thing because I was talking about horror nights and I had kind of known both of you vaguely through Twitter and things like that before our first podcast recording, and I knew Nicole pretty well, so she kind of, we all sort of connected the dots with each other and got to finally, meet up. So those are really special to me. Like our first recording was just so special and will always have a good place in my heart. And then I was always excited every year when it was hot season because I was like, oh yes, I can go on Theme Park Workshop again. And I was a listener of Theme Park Workshop and watched the YouTube videos before I joined on. Of course, the house and scare zone rankings are always huge for me. Those are I could talk about Horror Nights every second of every day. So anytime we're talking about Horror Nights is huge. Our Pride episode, I came out as bisexual 2 years ago, I think. And even then, when I first came out, I was kind of only telling friends and stuff. So I really wasn't very open about it until more recently. And having a platform has given me more of a chance to talk about queer things and show that side of myself, and it's been really awesome. So getting to talk about not only my experiences but also like what the parks are doing and queer creators that mean a lot to us, and getting to meet one of them because of it, getting to meet Dave Cobb at Horror Nights was incredible, and what an amazing guy. So is just that's definitely a huge core memory, was when we got to meet him opening weekend of Horror Nights and hear him talk about us talking about him, which is just like it was just such a surreal thing, and now like we're friends. It's just absolutely wild how that happens. I think my number one favorite memory though was getting to oh my gosh. Now you guys can see, everyone can see me if I start crying while we're recording. So that's a problem. I like getting to be the best of friends with the two of you has been one of the most special like parts of my past couple of years. Oh, see, I am crying. You can only see this if you're watching the YouTube, so we're gonna keep saying that. At least for this episode. But like my favorite memory by far, I think, was when we recorded a Patreon bonus episode at Adam's apartment, and we were laughing so much. It's probably the most I've ever laughed in one sitting in my entire life, where we did a full ranking of everything Horror Nights. I think it was Horror Nights 32. And I was like sobbing laughing. There's so many things I think about from that night, and it was just the best. And we were over there so late, and since then we've had, and before then even, we've had so many theme park days and movie nights and everything, and just being friends with y'all and talking to y'all every single day and having people in my life who truly understand my immense love for so many of the things we share, like theme parks and Horror Nights and Universal Monsters and just everything. I could go on and on, but that is definitely what's been the most special for me.
Aw, Kelly.
So nice. I definitely will second that, third that, fourth that, fifth that, 112%. Getting closer with the both of you was like, because like Adam, I know you through like kind of like middle school era stuff, and
Yeah.
Kelly, I met you through Disney Instagram years ago. So it's just been really nice to like talk consistently and like talk about our interests in like a space that like we can talk about our interests as much as we want and like as crazy and as silly and as serious as we want. It's like a very like I don't know the word, like a I can't think of the word. The only word that's coming to my head is like wholesome, but that's not the word that I'm looking for. It's just like a very nice, like creative, safe space. And I'm just so happy that you decided to have us on for the long haul. I love it.
Aw.
But also when like my favorite like moment of like the three of us, also in addition to that night at Adam's house, was also Dave Cobb. That whole night was just amazing, and like I'll never forget that night at Universal and talking to him and hanging out with him. But it's when we went to St. Henry's, and I was just scared out of my mind the whole time. But more specifically, when I got terrorized with the chainsaw at the end, it was just like really funny. It wasn't funny, but like thinking about it now, it's like really funny. And like we were all talking with Yule Cat and Frosty and Alabaster.
Alabaster, yep.
I'm so smart.
Alabaster
Uh
brown nose.
That one, that guy. And like we were just sitting there talking and like chatting in like they were in character and stuff. It was just like so much fun. And then I got terrorized. But like it was like such like a fun time and like going on my first trail. Like it was just like we just had so much fun.
I mean, I've got so many memories. Obviously, since I've been here for 5 years, and y'all, I mean, I love like as y'all were saying, like with podcasts. I mean, like our friendship. I think podcasts, ironically, not ironically, I think it's fitting. But it's just like a really great way to form closer friendships. You know, that's what happened with me and Jonathan. We were doing theme park workshop as a YouTube channel, and I mean, we've got tons of stories, and I don't want to repeat any of them that we told in episode 20 when we had his farewell episode. But like back then, we would film an episode, and I play it to the camera because we didn't have any of our lines memorized. I was trying to memorize, like at the time, the paragraphs I had written. I thought this was a good idea, and it wasn't. I should have been more concise. We learned, but I would do bloopers in front of the camera, so we'd have to dump a lot, and we'd watch Kitchen Nightmares, and as we wait for all of the footage to drop, and then we'd go and do it again, and we'd be there late at night. It was a great way that our friendship built out of it. And then when COVID happened and Jonathan got burnt out by a lot of things, like the podcast was a great way to continue that in our friendship, and then that just really cemented our friendship in a whole lot of ways. And I, as y'all have said, like the same thing is happening here, and I'm like really, I'm gonna brag about it, that I've got a really good knack of bringing people together. Like somehow I'm like, I think this chemistry will work, and that's what happened with episode 4 when we did the HHN 30 episode, which was big. It was the first Horror Nights we had back, and I'm like, listen, Bella Harvey's got a great story. She went full on in. She went full on in on a frequent fear pass, scared of anything that goes, you know, like was terrified of everything, but she did the most expensive pass. I need to know her story. And I know Kelly, you have been going a lot, and I know Nicole had written articles on her blog about HHN and theme parks and stuff. So I'm like, okay, need Nicole, need Bella, need Kelly, and here's how they connect, and here's how I connect with them. This might actually work. And my one regret, I only have one regret about that episode, and it's that my mic did not work. I had the wrong mic selected, and I cannot go back and listen to it because I just hear myself going. But it worked out because look, this happened through it. And then bringing y'all on for hype episodes and speculation episodes, and then finally having y'all on for the real thing in episode 21. I remember we recorded episode 20, and I started that episode saying, or sorry, episode 22 is when we brought you on. 21 is when y'all guested with me, and I started that episode saying, I don't know what the future of theme park workshop's going to look like. I know it'll look something like this, but I don't know like what the regular thing's going to be. So stay tuned. And then the very next episode, hey guys, we got a big announcement. Remember what you heard last week? Now it's happening. And that was so exciting. It was wonderful. And just bringing you on has just opened me to different perspectives on theme parks. Like, I was not the Epcot goer that I am until Kelly took me. I don't see shows the same way. Or I wouldn't have stayed in Sesame Street as long as I have when I go to SeaWorld if it weren't for Bella Harvey and kind of looking through her. I mean, not even just SeaWorld, but like one of the most fun times, even though we didn't hang out all that much, the three of us during HHN 31, just like when you're shooting the Pumpkin Lord in Protection Central, and trying to get that lighting right after I went through Hell Block of all things. Like, that was such a fun time, and then just getting scared. And again, you've heard it before, and you're gonna hear it again. Going through Horror Nights with Dave Cobb, the creator of the Men in Black ride, and also a bunch of other legendary things on his resume. Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't happen without the Pride episode, which I'm also very proud of. Like, if I look at all the episodes, I'm like, which one's my favorite? That one's probably up there. The Poseidon's Fury episode is up there because so many people came out to be like the views on that were immense compared to the other ones that we did. Like, it's not like 5 million views or anything like that, but like it did very well compared to everything else we were doing in the podcast scene. I'm like, oh, it's not necessarily that people are interested in us, but we have an avenue that people are like, we want to hear more about Poseidon's Fury. We're passionate about this ride. I can't believe there's a podcast out there talking about this. Yeah, I mean, I'll get more into some of the guests that we've had, but like a lot of the guests that we've had on this show, all the guests that we've had on the show has been a joy to have, Matthew included. He just joined, so I'm going to include him in this too. So many great episodes. So many great episodes and so many great times and memories. Getting stuck in traffic. That was speaking of behind the scenes. Yeah, Bella was waiting for us at SeaWorld, us being Kelly and I. We got invited to a media thing, which that's also the wildest thing. Would not have dreamed that happening last year, and then it did. Yeah.
And it did multiple times.
Multiple
and it's
times.
consistent.
Yeah, Sir Henry's has invited us out for media, which that was a goal, a long-term goal of mine, like starting 2023, and then it happened that year because of what y'all have brought to social media. Yeah. But then getting to do it with y'all, it's not even. One thing I like is that we've never really been like, the goal of all of this is to go to media events and to be influencers. It's just we're friends who go to theme parks and talk about theme parks, and that's one of the many ways that we connect. Also, horror movies and Greta Gerwig movies and musical theater and all of that. Yeah, but yeah, Kelly and I got stuck in traffic, listened to some Sammy Ray and the Friends, and we weren't sure if we were going to be allowed into the park at that point, but we did, and then we met up with Bella, and I forget what event it was. Was it Christmas? Festival
It
of the
was
Holidays?
SeaWorld Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, not Festival of the Holidays, Christmas celebration, yeah. And
We
that was a
got to see
wonderful
the
time.
Sesame Christmas parade.
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah, so many great memories and moments on the show. I still think about, like, Bella, you're talking about Fantasmic in one of these episodes. It's around the same. Yeah, we were talking about Fantasmic. That was a great conversation. When you're talking about Harmonious, when it was announced it was closing, that's one of my favorite monologues from you about like what that show meant to you and why it was important and why it sucks that Disney was getting rid of it. Funny enough, we've never talked about Luminous.
I still haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it either, Kelly?
No.
Oh, how am I seeing a Disney nighttime show before y'all?
Have you
so
finished
crazy.
Fantasmic yet?
Nope.
Touche.
Well, when I go see the Plain White Tees next month, I'll go see
Oh my
Luminous out
god.
at Epcot.
What? That just reminds me, they were on iCarly.
They
I remember
were.
that. I don't know why I just remembered that, but they were on iCarly.
They were.
Yeah, and then I'm also proud of how I've improved as a audio editor, and now I'm moving on to the exciting world of video editing, and these thumbnails I think are getting mostly better. So I think all in all, an improvement on my end.
To highlight your incredible audio editing skills, can we just all give a round of applause again for our Horror Nights intros?
Aw, shucks. I'll add in a
like,
little sound.
they're always so oh, could you not hear the applause?
No.
Oh, well, I tried.
You can see
But
it.
they're always so good, but the one from this past year, oh my I think there was one day I listened to it on loop for, like, half an hour to an hour. Like, it was so good, and it had, like, bits and pieces of all our favorite horror things, all our horror nights, like, it was just, like, perfection, and you slayed, and you're gonna slay video. Slay.
Oh, I gotta come up with a video version of that intro now. Oh, excitement.
Ooh, that's gonna be fun.
That's gonna be
Yeah.
awesome. Oh,
It's
I'm
gonna be a
also
scream, baby.
scream. I also want to thank you guys for always, or you two, you gals, you wonderful pals, for being so game to do those really nerdy HHN intros, the annual intro skits.
Yes, always.
I just drop it on
Always.
your desk, like when we start recording. Like, do you have any comments and thoughts how to make it better? Like, no, it's good. Let's
Feel
do
like I'm in like SNL. Like it's like a cold open.
it.
I'm like dun 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 dun. Dun. That's not SNL. That was Law and
CSI.
Order. Or
Oh,
that.
Law
That
and
was
Order,
CS.
Law and Order.
Wait. Dun 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 dun. That's George Lopez. You know what I was trying to do.
Isn't like a saxophone squeal?
I don't even.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Or is that
No,
the
it
wrong
was
one?
a dun 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 boom boom dun 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 dun, and then I started doing dun 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 dun.
I did want to say that one of the things I've also really enjoyed is all of the other people that we've gotten to meet. Like I did get to meet Landon Knoke and Jonathan Edward and Jordan Buster, and I did actually meet Greg Harvey. I've met like all of our patrons now at this point. There was a point where
When did you meet Greg Harvey?
at your house,
Oh my God, you did come to my
I did
house.
go to your house,
I forgot.
and Jen Harvey.
Yes, and you met Jen.
So I've met all of our patrons except for one, but uh Rachel Sprague, is that okay? Yes, I've talked to her a lot on Twitter or Instagram, actually, not Twitter. So yeah, I've interacted with a ton of new people that I wouldn't got to know, and I've also spoken to other people that are listeners and other people who want to listen, and it is just always amazing to me because I would just get on every week and talk to y'all for no reason. So the fact that people actually want to listen to us is amazing and so heartwarming to me. Because in case y'all don't know that are listening to this and maybe watching this, I just can't get over that. But we spend at least, usually more, at least an hour before we start recording just chatting with each other because we just love each other and speaking to each other and catching up, and like texting each other every day is not enough. We have to talk, not in person. It's a Zoom call, but still, it's just crazy.
Crazy. This show is crazy.
Oh, that's a good one. I didn't know what you're doing, and then I got it. Also,
Written down.
I was in a Tim Tracker video because of a media event. I got a media invite I got from this podcast. And
It's
if you
true.
know me, you know how much I love Tim Tracker. We got a shout out in a Tim Tracker vlog. Theme park workshop has been said in a Tim Tracker vlog. That's crazy.
And that's our Tim Tracker mention. That's probably my favorite thing. It's not my favorite thing you brought to the show, but it's it's like top 5.
The Tim Tracker mentions.
Yes.
I love Tim Tracker. I want him to be on the pod so bad, and I've tried. Maybe in the future. Maybe for our 6th year. Maybe no, this is our 5th year. Maybe in our 5th year. You never know.
Yes.
Yes. I think I see what you mean. Yes. Maybe.
I'm just
Picking up what you put
manifesting.
down.
I'm just manifesting for maybe in our 5th year. Maybe this year. Maybe by this time next year, we're like, happy 6th birthday. What did we do this year? Maybe it's on there that he
Maybe.
He's on the pod or whatever. That's a fun goal.
It is a fun goal. I don't disagree. Speaking of goals, actually, before I move on to the preview, does anyone else have anything heartwarming to say? Cool. Okay. So speaking of goals, we wanted to kind of give you a look at what's coming down the chute. I said pipeline earlier, so I need a new word. Coming down the chute. What plans do we have for the show? What episodes can you expect? It's kind of like a Marvel slate where you're going to know the titles, but when will they happen? You'll just have to tune in and find out. But we are going to do a Women of Theme Parks episode. It won't come out during Women's History Month, but you know what? Women all the time. Women all the time. We got that coming up. We're going to do Universal Relics. That series is coming back. I mentioned Poseidon's Fury earlier. That was the first Universal Relics episode we ever did, followed by E.T. We've been talking about bringing it back since I think season 3 when y'all joined. Now season 5, expect it. Definitely want to talk about Back to the Future, Jimmy Neutron, Men in Black, Disney Quest at some point. Roller coasters, do just a full coaster episode. That will be fun. It'll be fun. This is a theme park podcast, and even during the Jonathan years, we never talked about just roller coasters. We were so focused on theme park story, we never talked about roller coasters as a whole. We talked about roller coasters individually, but never as a whole. So that'll be fun. Epcot festivals, what are they? When did they happen? I still don't know the answer to that. So this is going to be a fun episode when we do it. Pride Month, we did it last year. As we said, it's one of our favorite episodes. Let's do something new this year. And of course, stick around for some HHN coverage and Dino Land. It's not long for this world. Curse you, Josh, tomorrow. So we'll talk about how much we love Dino Land and the things within. Another big goal of ours, of course, though, is to bring on more guests. And we will talk about who those guests are as we confirm them and get them closer. But like, if you looked at it, if I showed you my phone, you could see who they are. So we definitely do have that coming up. We've talked with people and they're like, yes, we want to come on. And I'm excited to have them on. Yeah, so that is what's coming down the pipeline. Patrons, you saw that first. And now everyone has seen it, but patrons, you got that one as a little bonus gift because I've been wanting to tell you for months and I just keep on forgetting to write it down. And now we've done it as a video. It's part of the episode. Y'all are great. Who else is great? All the people that we have worked with over the years, all the guests on our show since 2019. Start with number 1, Jonathan Edouard, the creator of the show, the co-creator of the show, has moved on to greener pastures. But you can still follow him over at the Second Dimension on YouTube if you're interested in Disney animation, actually all TV animation. I love what he does there. I watch all of his videos. Of course, he's my best friend in the world. And of course, can't forget, as annoying as he was and is, he's sitting on my bookshelf. But what a guy, Balthazar Banshee. Writing those skits with him. It was a wonderful time. The Balthazar Banshee beat is what it was by the end of it, and the Balthazar Banshee bite videos. Everyone loved those. Chandler Day Roche, he invited us onto his channel once upon a time, specifically Balthazar Banshee. And on a thing about the Agent P experience over at Epcot, rest in peace. But he also was on our Hagrid's episode. You can, if you still like all the Disney animation, like Molly McGee and all of that, he's over at Sunnyland Productions. He's doing a fundraiser for to Enhappify, the Enhappification Project, to support Give Kids the World, doing round 2 over there. Shout out to Matt, wonderful friend. He was also my temporary replacement for one episode. Over in the Runaway Railway opening day vlog before the world shut down, Matt replaced me. And that's why actually everything shut down, is because Matt replaced me. Just kidding, Matt's wonderful. Shout out as well to Greg Barbaric over at the Q-Line Lectures for doing a special guest episode during our Star Wars Galaxy's Edge mini-series. He opened it up, adapted his theme park monomyth to Rise of the Resistance. And I introduced you so many times, Greg, in our bloopers, because I was sleep deprived and I could not get your name out. Somehow, an easy name like Greg. You've never seen it. I don't think the clips will ever see the light of day, but it did happen. And thank you for contributing to our channel. Nicole Wills was with Bella and Kelly. We mentioned her before. She was our first guest with the two of y'all on the podcast when we transitioned to a podcast as opposed to just a video channel. AJ Dana, one of my favorite guests we've ever had, voice actor extraordinaire, has been in the Dungeons and Dragons movie on Disney Channel's Bunked. He did the Stranger Things drive-in experience in Vegas, I believe it was. It's just always doing a bunch of themed entertainment stuff. Follow him at, I believe it's either actor AJ Dana or AJ Dana. It's in the doobly-doo. It's in the description. Such a great episode 12. Go listen to it. Jonathan from HHN 365. That was such a fun episode with Christian Nixon. That was our HHN prep episode over this past season. And Jordan Buster, who was she was our season 4 finale guest and a patron and a friend. Yes, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And of course, Matthew, who was on the show just today. Oh, and I can't forget brief appearances, my mom and Landon Knoke. You can hear them in our last Sir Henry's episode. They make a little audio cameo because we put our audio walkthroughs, and if you're a patron, you saw the walkthroughs and you got to see them for realsies. But yeah, usually in our creator spotlight, we spotlight the community of theme parks and creators in that space. But I want to shout out the creators who helped make the show what it is and our theme park workshop community over the past 5 years. You all are wonderful. Go follow all these wonderful people. Again, their links are down below if they have links. Some of them do not. But yeah, it's wonderful. It's been a wonderful 5 years. It's been a wonderful 50 episodes. And I can't wait for more. It's not really at the end. I'm just getting kind of a little sappy because you can't help it. But yeah, we got more coming up, even very soon. So stick around for women. For women. Anyway, speaking about the women on our podcast, Bella, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Flynn Rider's Nose. And then you can find me on Twitter at Bella Harvey with 2 Y's. And then you can find me on the Theme Park Workshop Twitter, which is Workshop TP. I'm working on bringing her back from the dead. Once our next episode drops, she will be alive. She will be coming back from the dead, just like Taylor Swift's Reputation era. I'll be posting 3 videos of a snake. Don't be alarmed. You're just gonna go with it.
And then Kelly, where can the people find you?
You can find me on the Theme Park Workshop Instagram and TikTok. The @ for that is Theme Park Workshop. And you can also find me personally on Insta at kels.hoff and on Twitter at killer_Kels, and Kels is always with an S.
Adam, where can they find you?
Me?
It's you!
Oh, well, I mean, if you really want it, you can follow me at AdamJ_film on Twitter. It's a little confusing because my name right now is Adam from Theme Park Workshop, but it's _film. Does it make sense? I don't know, but I don't know what to change it to. That said, you can also see me on the Patreon. I run that little shindig over there with all the wonderful patrons hanging out. You can join our Patreon if you so want, starting as little as $2. Our little $2 tier, all the way to $20, or however much you want is up to you. That's over at patreon.com/Theme Park Workshop. Again, want to shout out our $20 patrons, Jen Harvey and Dwayne and Teresa Diker. Yeah, but this has been 50 episodes. This has been 5 years. And we'll see you next time.
Goodbye. Thank you. Love you. Goodbye, listeners. See you soon.
Adios.